pathogens was dangerous. Try that. But that doesn't stop Harvard University. Its scientists are testing that technology by spewing calcium carbonate dust into the atmosphere.
Bill Gates is backing the first high-altitude experiment of one radical climate change solution, creating a massive chemical cloud that could cool the Earth. It's called solar geoengineering, and it's highly controversial. It would look something like this. Thousands of planes would fly very high and use nozzles to inject millions of tons of light-reflecting particles into the stratosphere. It would create a thin chemical cloud of those particles around the whole planet, blocking some sunlight from reaching the surface. It would mimic a giant volcanic eruption, which we know cools the Earth.
Just a few days ago, the Pentagon confirmed that a 2019 video of a UFO sighting is actually real. It was a UFO. The video shows a pyramid-shaped object flying over a U.S. Navy destroyer. This is the very first time the public has seen video from this incident. The UFO footage was leaked to a filmmaker called Jeremy Corbell, who joins us tonight to explain all of this. Jeremy, thanks so much for coming on. Tell us where this was shot. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, so I obtained and released videos and photographic evidence of UFOs swarming our warships. So the green video is night vision. That's from the USS Russell. It wasn't just one pyramid-shaped craft. It was multiple. These were swarms. I also released with my mentor in journalism, George Knapp, also released from the USS Omaha, which looks like thermal imagery. He released 3 photos the day prior to mine. So we're trying to get this out to continue elevating the conversation, because it's very important we have it right now.
You think? I mean, those are not weather balloons. Those are clearly autonomous aircraft of some kind that are, as you put it, swarming U.S. military craft. So
these are
there are two options.
Under intelligent control. These are craft under intelligent control, and they're flying with impunity, Tucker, within our airspace, and they can outmaneuver, outperform anything that we seem to have. Their mode of transportation seems magical to us. It's unbelievable, and now finally we're having a rational, sober discussion about this, because we don't know what these are. We don't know the nature of the technology. We need to find out who's operating them and also what the intent is. So it's a really exciting time to be learning about UFOs, because now we're having a complete tipping point with the transparency, and hopefully we'll be getting more answers soon.
This must have scared the crap out of the U.S. military. I mean, their job is to defend the country and themselves, and here these aircraft violate their airspace. Quickly, do you believe that they sincerely don't know what these things are and where they came from?
We have the best military on planet Earth, the greatest intelligence agencies. These are true unknowns, and they were swarming our military arsenals. They're seen over nuclear facilities. This is documented. We need to find out who is operating these vehicles.
Yeah, nicely put. Jeremy Corbell, I appreciate your coming on tonight. I hope we see you again. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
explanations.
The Vatican now, a 5-day conference on aliens. Father Jonathan Morris, Fox News contributor, back with us. Father, good morning to you.
What a great movie that was.
It was a wonderful movie. Drew Barrymore, and off she went. Did the Vatican find alien life?
You know what? As sensationalistic as that question sounds, it's really not that far off from what we've seen in the news over these last days. The pictures of what might have been Pope Benedict standing on the roof of the Sistine Chapel looking for UFOs. That's the type of images that this news conjures up. What is exceptional is that the Vatican was taking very seriously what science might tell us about the possibility of extraterrestrial intelligent life forms. That's what the conference was about. I can't tell you that the Vatican found any alien life. I don't think that's what they were looking for, but they were taking very seriously the issue.
You know the history, just like we do. I mean, they've come a long way since Galileo 400 or 500 years ago. Well, what do you think it says about the church, and it's actually looking at this issue?
Well, a great question, Bill. What it says is that although there have been some inglorious moments of relationship of faith and science, the Vatican, and not just Catholics, Christians in general, they brought 30 of the best scientists, the astrobiologists, of the cosmologists, of the astronomists, to tell the philosophers and theologians what they already know about the possibility of something that could happen. Now, what they're trying to do is get out of the story, get out ahead and say, what if we were to find life outside of this planet? What does that tell us about the doctrine of original sin, of Adam and Eve? And their point here is that we have to allow science to lead us in what is their field, without going into it with ideology saying, we know that God doesn't exist.
I think that's a great point. Now, you as a Roman Catholic priest, you're open to science, is what you're saying, correct?
Without it, not only open, Bill, we have to respect science in its own field.
How would it change the church's teaching there? If you consider for a moment, if you determine that there is an extraterrestrial life there?
Well, one thing would be fascinating would be not only extraterrestrial life, but if it were extraterrestrial intelligent life forms. That would definitely make us go back and say, maybe our understanding of perennial truths needs to be updated.
I think that's an interesting explanation there. And I think also if it were determined, Father, that would be an earthquake, would it not?
It would be, and especially if the Vatican were involved in accepting.
Father, that would be an earthquake, would it not?
It would be, and especially if the Vatican were involved in accepting.
A group gathering here in Washington to talk about their UFO sightings, but this apparently is no crackpot convention. Former high-level government and military officials are among those sharing what they've seen in the skies.
Hello good people, it's Rob Lee. This is the back end of this video and I have a short message for you.
And I have broken it up into 3 parts. Part 1 is UFOs, oppressors and saviors. And part 2 is divide and unite by deception. And part 3 is forewarned and prepared. So you've already watched much of this. And now I want to explain to you what's really going to happen and how it's going to happen. So part 1 is UFOs, oppressors, and saviors. So let me put the hay where the sheep can reach it, because that's who this video is for. Take a good look at this picture. And we have a UFO abducting a person and their car. So why is this picture and this belief so fascinating to me? Because it's indicative of the American mentality. Let me explain to you. We live in a nation, and all Western cultured nations, where the vilest, most evil, filthy people are oppressors. And these oppressors are regarded as the saviors of the world. In fact, billions refer to them as chosen, mind you. I challenge you to really take a minute and really give serious thought to what I'm telling you. We are currently living in a country and a culture where the evil beings who steal, poison, murder, kidnap, extort, lie, rape, and deceive are hailed as the saviors. You ask how this relates to UFOs. Well, we'll tie it all together for you, and you'll have the truth. And when I say we, I mean we. In this picture, the believers of this UFO lie, on one hand, believe that so-called alien invaders are here to help. They've always known us. This is what they claim. They may have even created us. The asinine theories are rampant. However, out of the other side of their mouths, they claim these so-called beings actually kidnap, abduct, rape, and torture them. It is the equivalent, brethren, of someone who would break into your house, steal all your belongings, murder your family, murder your pets, and then you, as the remaining victim, you give homage and thanks to them because they spared your life temporarily. This is exactly what our modern society does with its oppressors. They held the oppressors as saviors, and the real savior they deny. When it's the evil people, the most evil people that the masses follow, that are liars, murderers, hypocrites, idolaters, rapists, pedophiles, kidnappers, thieves, and more. These are the people that are held up on a pedestal, is that we're going to make it better for you. This has everything to do with the UFO lie. These beings are called the synagogue of Satan, and they can pretend to be aliens from fake, made-up planets. It will not change who they are. They are evil. They are in league with the evil spirits of this world. They are the children of evil. They are the seed of corruption. We're not going to give you a case-by-case study of UFOs and abductions. I could do this for hours. It's not needed. This is about many deceptions being woven into one giant riddle. It's far bigger than UFOs. It's about evil going all in and making a final play for complete control. This is about uniting the people behind the greatest lie in the history of mankind. And I'll tell you what that is at the end of this video. One of the deceptions in their riddle is global warming. We've talked about this before. We're told we're in a climate change and the world is facing global warming. What they don't tell you is that through cloud seeding, they are actually changing the climate themselves. But it's how they mock the people with lies right to their face with words. Global warming. Glow is another word for illuminate or light. Baal or Baal, the bull, is another word for the devil, is in Baal. So yes, we do have a global warming. The light of the devil is warming up. But the real light, they want you to go away from. The UFO deception has been a steady process since the 1940s with radio and magazines. Through the 50s and 60s, when TVs started to become more and more popular, in about the 70s, most everybody had a TV. Science fiction, UFOs, Star Trek. One of the biggest movies of the 70s was Close Encounters of the Third Kind by Steven Spielberg, of course. The seed was being laid. The foundation was being laid for the UFO agenda. And now, through technology, the evil of this world can reach the masses in the movement of a finger or simply by saying a word. There has been an onslaught in the past 2 decades to saturate the world with UFOs and alien invasions. To show you how successful they have been, the most popular subject on the internet today is UFOs. Second is porn. That is the mindset of the American man and the American woman. There are TV shows, movies, online documentaries, websites, and reports of UFOs 24/7. However, it was not until the last 10 years that UFOs became front page stories on the mainstream media. This is when things started to change, and this is when you knew the agenda was starting to ramp up. Holographic technology, Project Bluebeam, and more are to be implemented on a society that we know right now is ready to believe anything and will be looking for anyone or anything to save them from the hell of this world if they'll just go along. The masses will follow anyone or anything, but they'll not follow the one whom they should. This is a fact, good people. You are going to see the world wonder after the beast. And when I say wonder, I do not mean wonder. Wonder. They are going to awe in amazement of this beast. But they will not follow the one who has all the power. They deny that one. When you hear these so-called clergy, as we've seen in the Fox clip, that was 10 years ago, brethren. It's gotten way bigger. I wanted to take you back in time to show you this was being set up 10 years ago. When you hear these clergy say we need to re-examine what we know about original sin and the Bible, it should be a red flag that something big is coming. When we see the mainstream media giving attention to a subject that at one time they scoffed and ridiculed, we should see something big is coming. We did a video 2 months ago, and in it was a clip of Alex Jones talking about free will and aliens visiting this planet, as he calls it. Now, he doesn't know what a planet is. He has no idea. These are all signs of the agenda ramping up, because Jones used to deny this, but now his masters, his six-pointed star masters have told him, you have to push this agenda. Now, we're told these aliens traverse trillions of miles, go through time, which is nothing but a complete lie. And they are here to help us. And oh, by the way, they also came all that way to deny Jesus Christ, to say that our beliefs in God, our beliefs in our Father and Jesus and the Holy Bible, they're wrong. They're wrong. And they had the answer. They had the answer, but at the same time, they're raping, abducting, and torturing people, and hiding and doing things in the shadows, when Jesus Christ himself said, truth works in the light. Only the blind, the lost, and the spiritually stunted would believe such lies and asinine. I mean, it goes beyond a lie, man. It's an asinine lie that is so big that when you look at some of these people, you truly start to understand how God has denied these people and put them under bondage mentally and spiritually. Yet billions do follow the lie, and many more will join them. And that's what we're going to talk about in closing here. Is it not odd to you that most flying saucers or objects now are pyramid, V-shaped, boomerang-shaped, triangle? The pyramid, the triangle, plays a huge role in the devil's deceit. Two pyramids that make up one of the most hideous marks on this earth, if not the most hideous mark. Yet the masses revere it. But God himself condemned it. Yes, God condemned these two pyramids, these two triangles, in Amos 5:26 and Acts 7:43. We need to look no further than the flag lie. I did 2 videos about this. The Southern States flag has been assaulted, shredded, and removed all over this country. It's become harder to purchase online. It's seen by a depraved world as being evil and a sign of oppression. Think about that now. This flag, the Southern States flag, is seen as oppressive, a symbol of oppression. Yet this is one of the biggest misdirection and hypocritical lies in history. The godless masses held the hexagram flag as being special and from God. They call it David's star, the flag of the Jewish people and the state of Israel. Yet it is God himself who condemned the 6-pointed star. This is indicative of how far this nation and Western culture has fallen. When you can look at this, the flag that oppresses you, and see it as good, and one that never did you no harm, and call it oppressive. This is where we are really at, and this has everything to do with UFOs. Yet it is the pyramid and the hexagram that is in our faces nonstop with media, churches, actors, athletes, musicians, and the masses. It sits atop the Jewish Supreme Court building in Jerusalem. This is by design. I've been telling you for years the return to Jerusalem in 1948 was the return to the scene of the crime, the murder of Jesus Christ. It was foretold in Luke 19:27. Read it for yourselves. In the Fox clip about Bill Gates and his dimming the sun, which is actually biblical, we see that in this project to dim the sun, the narrator refers to volcanic eruptions and the cooling of the earth because it darkens the earth. Well, brethren, that's what they are. They're darkness. You see, that was a play on words to smack the people in the face even more. It's all about their darkness and their false light. They create a world of chaos, hell, and sorrow. Then they roll out an alien invader to save the day and be the new saviors. If their fake spaceship lands, it'll look just like this, because this will be the truth of what's behind it. Nothing has changed. There is nothing new under the sun. We are seeing evil beings manifest in these end times. That is precisely what aliens and UFOs are. Nothing more than evil spirits that have been given power to deceive. Much of what you see in the sky is not planes. They are spirit beings. I see them all the time. I rebuke them in the name of Jesus Christ. I've done more than that. But now I try to resign myself to just, I'm going to say something about my Father and Jesus to them and go on. I used to say more than that because I know what they are. The dumping of chemicals and nanoparticles on the people is reality. Cloud seeding and geoengineering the climate is reality. Again, however, brethren, not everything that you see in the sky is solid. The forces behind this and more are demonic beings, both seen and unseen. See Ephesians 6 and Revelation 12. Now, this truth is too much for the dumbed down and godless masses, but I'm not called to preach to the godless masses. I'm called to preach to the Father's children, to the flock of Jesus Christ. One thing for sure is certain. The new saviors will be the same evil that has oppressed and destroyed since the beginning. Nothing will be different except this will be the final act of this play, and everything will be on the line. Deception will be at an all-time high. The synagogue of Satan has been steadily mastering the art of deception. Going back to the Garden of Eden, their father, through Cain, is the original liar and deceiver. Okay, their father is the devil. Their father, it went from the serpent to Cain to the six-pointed star. Nothing's changed. NASA's logo is a serpent's tongue. That's what it is, brethren. It's a serpent's tongue. It's not a vector. It's a serpent's tongue. Yet billions and billions of dollars are spent annually on fake space exploration, and the masses believe every bit of it. They really believe the gross and outrageous lies of going to Mars and the moon. They really believe it. They actually believe SpaceX is real. They believe it. Why do you think the devil and his children have made their move now? Because they know there's never in history been a time of more ignorance than right now. The masses will believe anything. The masses cannot see the deception of the serpent. Among the lies and chaos and division is the setting up of the great uniting behind the father of lies. The serpent himself will pretend to be God. In Rome, this is the Pope Hall. The Pope Hall. It was built a few years ago. It is shaped like a serpent. Look at it. Look at it good, brethren. It is shaped like a serpent. You can easily see the head, the eyes, the nose, and the tongue is the walkway. Think about what you're looking at. The outside of the building is shaped like the body of a snake. Moreover, this type of evil has agents in place 24/7 through every avenue of information to misdirect, redirect, misinform, and lie 24/7. The media and every whore of the devil works 24/7 to deceive the people. This is what they do. This is their function. It truly is a family affair. Because that's what it comes down to. The family of the devil and the family of the Almighty Father. The masses will eat, drink, and live the lie. And they'll ask for seconds because God, not the devil, Not the Jews, not the Masons, not BLN, not Antifa, not bankers. God has condemned them. Read with me before we go to part 2. Have you ever really thought about what it must be like to have the Most High God put his hand on you and say, I'm against you, boy or girl. I'm against you. And for God to be against you so much that he's going to say, I'm going to send you a strong delusion because I want you to live the lie. There's something about you I don't like because I've looked inside of you. I've tried the reins of your heart and I see something I don't like. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Now in perspective of our world today, think about what you're reading. The strong delusion, again, not from the devil, not from the children of Cain, but from God Almighty himself. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 9 through 12. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. Notice the lying wonders. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness and them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they might all be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. God sent the strong delusion, not the devil, not the Jews, Masons, or anyone else. Excuse me, pardon me. They are tools of evil and the head of evil. But this is not from evil. This is from the Father. God sees the people who deny him, Jesus and his holy word. Read what your Father says there and why he does it. They are damned because they believe not the truth. What is the truth? Your Father, his word. And what was truth personified that walked among us? Jesus. These people deny this. It ain't working, boy. You need some new mouthwash. So they call Jesus Christ a fairy tale. They spew lies about the Jews. They wrote the Bible. I actually had a boy, capital B, in a previous video say the Sanhedrin wrote the Bible. This poor deluded boy would not know the difference between the Sanhedrin and a grain of sand. YouTube is a liberal stronghold. That's a fact. And it has mass censorship. We all know it, right? However, in the past 10 to 15 years, it did its job well. It did its job well. Because much of the stupidity the masses believe now comes directly from the older days of YouTube. That's right. Now BitChute has taken over the role. BitChute is nothing more than a splinter company of Google. That's it. That's all. These atheists are the same delusional people that God has rejected. They are no different than the synagogue of Satan, the Judeo-Christian nutcases, and hate-filled atheistic liberals. They are all the same family and they will unite. In fact, let's talk about that now. Part 2. Divide, deception, and misdirection. Now, before we talk about division, why is it that old Tucker Carlson, with his little hideous smile and laugh, Sean Hannity, Rachel Maddow, Wolf Blitzer, or any other talking hacks that wear the six-pointed star across their forehead, why will they not mention who has and is destroying our earth and all of its natural resources? They will not talk about these monsters that have destroyed the earth, people, and animals. Now, why do these hacks refuse to acknowledge the poisons that the children of the devil have put in our water supply, food, and the air that we breathe? Do you think Sean Hannity cares that fluoride is in baby formula? Do you think ABC or CBS would ever tell you this? For these devils to do that would mean they would go against their own kind, the demonic kind, born evil, born bad. They would have to admit who owns and controls all the media and all the companies and corporations in Western culture. They would open the door to the dumbed-down masses to ask for the first time who is really responsible for all this hell. The people would want to know two basic questions that can be the most two dangerous: who and why. In any investigation, it's who and why. The question would lead them directly to the six-pointed star. Therefore, it must be covered up at all cost. What do you think could unite the masses to turn against you? Remember, Jesus Christ said, you will be hated for my name's sake. Not for the Jews' name's sake, Not for black liberation, Black Lives Matter. No, 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 man. He said you will be hated for my name's sake. Not Yahshua, Yahweh, Jesus. He said you'll be hated for his name's sake, and his name is Jesus. Now, is that a complex question? However, the answer reveals much about our futures. 24/7, we are bombarded, man, with news from the mainstream media, social media, Hollywood, TV, music, that we are a divided and separated country. We are told that people must come together. They must unite. Left versus right, red versus blue, poor versus rich, young versus old, high-tech versus the old ways, and on it goes. Have you ever considered what would be so important in this life and our current situation that would unite two factions that claim they hate one another? You see, you have two factions in this country that claim they despise one another. What could unite them? Good people, this is incredibly important, and we must learn and accept the answer, for in the answer is the future of what will be. How could these two groups come together and be as one to serve a common goal? They would need a common belief that was so strong, they would be willing to set aside their differences and unite. They would have to be in a position of needing help or having something they perceive as all-powerful unite them in a common cause. I mean, what do you think the last 18 months has been about? It is the foundation. It is the beta test to see if the time is now. It is about control and seeing how far they can take the lie without any significant pushback. Why do you think there has been such a massive censorship squeeze in just the last 18 months? Once the synagogue of Satan realized how many people would go along, they could not afford to take their foot off of the gas pedal. And we are heading straight on into it, what people call the Great Tribulation. People talk about it. But then when it really comes, you start to see the people, one, they don't want to believe it, or two, they start to get a little bit freaked out. Not all of us. Not all of us. Part 3, forewarned and prepared. What you are witnessing is prophecy coming true right before your eyes. Yet the blind and stupid will continue to deny God the Father and the anointed Son Jesus. And watching the clip of the Catholic priest that we seen earlier on Fox, what did we really garner from that? From listening to this devil, and I could see the devil in him. I could feel the evil emanating from this little piece of you-know-what. The agenda is to destroy the word of the Father, to destroy Jesus, to destroy the teachings, the laws. They want to erase the Bible, the laws and teachings that our Father gave us, and create their own laws based on evil. And for the most part, they've already done this. However, it goes far deeper. As I just told you, God will allow this to happen. It is the greatest divide in history for God's children. It is Jesus Christ himself who said he came to divide, not unite. Jesus Christ said he would divide households against one another. 3 against 2, 2 against 3. Jesus says this, and think about what you're reading. Matthew 10:34, the words of the King of Kings, Jesus Christ says, think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. There is division from God, and there is division from the devil and his family. Both serve a purpose for each family. Our Father commanded us to be distinct and a separate people. The devil's children, pathological liars, divide while promoting unity. One is truth, the other is a lie from hell. In Luke 17 and Matthew 24, Jesus said the end would be as in the days of Noah. What was going on in the days of Noah in Genesis 6 that are so significant that Jesus would refer back to it and say, this is how the end's going to be? What was going on in the days of Noah that we should look back to? There was rampant sin, filth, and evil at the highest level. Secondly, God's children were breeding with demonic beings. Lastly, the people were oblivious to God's wrath as swift destruction was coming upon them. That's where we are now. Nothing Jesus Christ said was just to be talking. Jesus Christ did not talk just to be talking. We know the media does, and we know the liars in this world do, but not Jesus Christ. Everything that we have written from Jesus Christ bears great meaning. The people, left and right, black and white, red, blue, doesn't matter. They will unite and they will wonder, W-O-N-D-E-R, after the beast. Not wander as to follow, but they will follow, but they will be in amazement, awe. You can find this proof in Revelation 13, 3 through 4, and Revelation 17, 8. Look it up. Take the time. Put in some work. The only people who will not wonder in awe of this beast are the true children of God, whose names have been written in the book of life before the foundation of the world. Before this, you took your first breath, you were chosen. And we'll talk about that in a future video that's already done. It may be one of my best ever. It's a 45-minute video about destiny. A powerful truth. I mean, it's a really powerful video. I hope to put it out. I'll see when the Father says put it out. God willing. You see, you are seeing the great divide start to take place. And it's not the way you think. It's not left-right, man. It's going to be slowly. You'll start to see them against us. And we are small, but yet we are great. Because what lives in us is far greater than what could ever live in them. Man, you got to use and you got to activate and you have to live and you have to trust the spirit that God gave you. When the Father said, no good thing will be withheld from you, he meant it. When Jesus Christ said, hey, boys and girls, you got more power than you understand if you will believe and trust in me. Jesus Christ told no lies. When he said you could move mountains, you could heal people, when he said you could do mighty things, he meant it. But you got to believe, man, with everything in you. We live among and in a godless society. The masses are conditioned to believe the lie, and God has ordained this. Remember, God did it. It is a strong delusion. We just read it. People walk around with their devices close to their faces. They've got their phones. They've got their tablets, and they cannot put them down. In fact, they cannot go anywhere without their demonic toys. The devices are their links to this depraved world, and it is their tool to feed themselves the lie nonstop. The people will believe and follow the same people that Jesus Christ said this about. John 8:44, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. The father of the lie. What was the first lie? The first lie was when the serpent came to Eve and told her, you will not die. Why would any person or group believe a people who were the children of the devil? But they do. Yet the world follows the lies of the devil and his children nonstop. The UFO lie is here, and it's growing bigger. And it will grow and grow and grow, and it is going to take place. And that's why Father had a lowly nobody like me do this video. Consider this, Revelation 3:9, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. Again, we must ask ourselves, if God condemned a people, and they cannot even tell the truth about their identity, why would anyone believe a single word they say? If they cannot even tell the truth about who they are, why would you believe anything they say? These people have never met a lie they did not like. In closing, please take these words to heart from your Father's word. Deceiving you would be their ultimate reward. Matthew 24:24, the words of Jesus Christ. For there shall arise false Christ and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders. There it is, great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Now, brethren, when he talks about false Christ and false prophets, this is not only in churches, this is in society. Jesus Christ knew what technology was going to come. He had at his disposal everything but that last moment of when he was to be called. And he's telling us, through great signs and wonders, that they would like to deceive even the very elect. You. And what would be the greatest? A false Jesus? A UFO invasion? Oh yes. Consider the words of Daniel 12:4 and 12:10. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and from, and knowledge shall be increased. Knowledge of God has not increased, except among his children. Knowledge of this evil world has increased, and people do run to and fro through technology. People do. They run to and fro through planes, automobiles, trains, and now the internet and holographic technology. People do run to and from with a touch of a button or the utter of a word. Daniel 12:10 Think about this closely. Many shall be, this is talking about the last days, many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly. And none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. In these last days, God's children have been tried, and sometimes it's been incredibly hard on us. However, we are made strong and we are made pure. We understand things that the wicked people of this world cannot understand, and they never will. We read Revelation 3:9 about the synagogue of Satan and false Jews, but most folks never read the verse that comes after that. Revelation 3:10. They just don't read it. They get caught up in that one verse. But let's read 3:10 because it's just as relevant, just as important. Every word that comes from Jesus Christ has power. Revelation 3:10 says this, talking about the last time, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Jesus will guide us away from the lies and temptations in these last days. We avoid the lie and the liars. We are not to be yoked together with those who do not share our faith. When you hear deniers and atheists spew lies and hate, they do it because God does not know or love them, and they do not know the Father or the Son. And for this, these monsters want to project their hate and misery onto you. In these last days, we can clearly see what Jesus Christ meant about not giving your pearls and that which is holy to swine and dogs. See Matthew 7:6. I share these last two verses and the words of Jesus in closing. John 8:12. Then spake Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. You will not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. You see, if you walk in the darkness, you don't know where you're going. You could fall. You can trip. You don't know where you're going. When you have the light of Jesus Christ, you know exactly where you're going and how to get there. John 15:18. If the world hates you, the words of Jesus, you know that it hated me before it hated you. They hated Jesus, and they'll hate us too. We are his children. We are his flock. We are his people. We are his followers. Be glad the devil and his family hate you. Would you really want these evil, diseased, filthy monsters to love you? Would you really? Would you really want to be on their side ever, for any reason? We can see the lie coming and know the agenda of the enemy. We have a final mountain to climb, good people. One big mountain. And we're going over it, we're going through it, it doesn't matter. But we're going over that mountain. And we're going to get to our destiny. Nothing's going to stop us. Your Father is wonderful, and Jesus Christ really does love his family. And you remember there is nothing that your Father cannot do to help you. Your Father, man, is the boss of it all, and he gave it to his Son, Jesus Christ. There are no limitations on the power of your Father. None. Not a bit. And we really are loved by him. We're not here by accident. We're not here by chance. May the Father bless you all in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen.